the Pacific Island nations. With an unparalleled program of administrative reforms across government, deregulation of the telecommunications sector, the establishment of a modern, inclusive Fijian constitution, the establishment of the National Internet Exchange Point in 2017, substantial and consistent public investment in infrastructure such as connecting Viti-Levu and Vanuatu in July 2018 to the Southern Cross Fibre Cable Network, tax and socio-economic development reforms, and a consolidated effort to position Fiji as a communications hub of the Pacific have contributed to bridging the digital divide. The Speaker, sir, in fact, Vodafone has recently stated that the digital wallet, or the M-Pesa as we know it, QR Pay, had recorded a 2,000% growth in the last 12 months. Compared to a year ago, M-Pesa digital platform now processes over $100 million in transactions every month. In other words, $1.2 billion every year. Mr. Speaker, said the upsurge in the adoption of digital technology and the push towards interactions and economic activity into online spaces has seen 300% surge post-COVID, and we expect that trend to continue. From the 95% of Fijians, Mr. Speaker, said that have mobile and internet connectivity, the remaining 5% of Fijians who are not connected and are located in isolated locations that are widely scattered on the fringes of the current connectivity coverage map, or what we call brown spots, and of course there are black spots too. The Connecting the Unconnected program, which utilizes universal service obligations, is mapping out these areas and creating a plan to progressively expand connectivity. The collaborative approach that we are focused on with the mobile operators is infrastructure sharing of backhaul services and on-site towers, which is commercially sustainable for operators and ensures that Fijians in uncovered regions have access to mobile internet and voice connectivity. Mr. Speaker, as mentioned last year for the Telecommunications Amendment number 2 Bill 2020, the Ministry and the Telecommunications Authority Fiji, or TAF, have been working very closely with the relevant stakeholders through a series of consultations to progress work on expanding affordable connectivity to the unconnected regions and the promotion of sustainable business models. Relevant stakeholders have included Vodafone Fiji Limited, Digital Fiji Limited, Telecom Fiji Limited, Fiji International Telecommunications PT Limited, Fiji Television, My Television, Fijian Broadcasting Corporation, Communications Fiji Limited, and Amalgamated Telecom Holdings. One challenge identified from the consultations was that the multiple service operators would compete with each other to construct a service tower at the most desirable elevated site in a particular area. For those who were unsuccessful in obtaining the best site, this meant building a tower on the hillside, which had a smaller coverage footprint, or abandoning the site, which meant fewer services being available to the residents on that particular site or around that site. Infrastructure sharing or co-location arrangements addresses this issue in that service operators share the same service tower but install separate antennas, cabinets, and backhaul. Excuse me. Another challenge that was identified was that providing internet and voice connectivity services in rural and remote areas where deploying infrastructure is costly and the potential return on the investment is low, Mr. Speaker, sir, and that is one of the key issues. In our assessment, in some of these villages settlements, there are only 2 or 3 people who live there. Other villages settlements have only 200 people, say, for example. Others may have only 20 people. For these remote locations, public sector intervention is required, as none of these mobile phone companies will go there. The reason for this is because to put up one tower will cost a mobile phone company at least $500,000, depending on the technical and operational requirements. Now, if there's going to be only 20 people in a village, and they spend, say, $10 a month, that is $200 a month that they will spend. And the tower will cost $500,000. The mobile phone operators are not going to get a rate of return on the investment. In fact, at $2,400 a year, it will take 200 years to get back the $500,000. Mr. Speaker, said this is where the Universal Service Fund will come in, and I will elaborate on that shortly. With the fund, we intend to build what we call tower sharing arrangements. Put up one tower and everyone shares it and places the equipment on it. Mr. Speaker, so infrastructure sharing co-location arrangements have many benefits, including A, the efficient non-duplication of placement of infrastructure, reduction of overall costs of all underground work, reduction of construction waste with one universal service tower being built for a number of service providers, as opposed to separate towers being built, and savings achieved can be redirected by licensees to improve network service, deploy more product offerings, and of course bring down the cost to the ordinary consumer. Mr. Speaker, the Universal Service Fund is a trust fund established under Section 53 of the Telecommunications Act 2008 and is one of the key financing mechanisms to connect the declared universal service area, where there is neither the density nor the capital for telecom operators to justify private sector infrastructure investments. Under the law, each telecom operator pays a levy of 0.5% of the annual gross revenue towards the Universal Service Fund, which is paid to TAF. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the government's ongoing effort to connect the remaining 43,022 Fijians, or 5% of the unconnected Fijians, we have identified 317 sites nationwide as either unconnected or poorly connected. These proposed sites cover 4.02% of the 5% of the unconnected Fijians. In other words, 34,590 Fijians out of the 43,022 unconnected Fijians. The coverage balance, which is 8,432 unconnected Fijians, makes up the remaining 0.98% of the unconnected population. The sites whereby these unconnected Fijians are in has yet to be identified. This will be the final phase of connecting the unconnected program. There will be ongoing monitoring to assess whether the 8,432 unconnected Fijians move to an area that has internet and voice connectivity, which will then decrease the coverage balance. In any event, once the 317 sites have been completed, a comprehensive assessment will be undertaken to establish the number of unconnected Fijians. Mr. Speaker, under the current framework, the Ministry of Communications has formed a technical working group with key stakeholders such as TAF, Vodafone, Digicel, TFL, NDMO, and EFL. The technical working group's mandate is to design the innovative, cost-effective, and sustainable solutions and determine the operational modalities unique for each site. The working group has had several meetings to work on the 317 identified sites. This is a project position with the Ministry. There is a project position with the Ministry of Communications to coordinate the work of the technical working group and ensure all outlined activities are conducted in a timely manner. The technical working group is currently collating information such as geographical coordinates of the sites, which would outline the exact localities, the availability of electricity, and other amenities such as road access, school, health center, post office, government station, and police post presence. These factors will assist in identifying the appropriate methodology for each of the 317 proposed sites. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you would imagine, sir, this is an intensive exercise, and once the technical working group has completed the above process of the 317 sites, a report will be submitted to us outlining which of the proposed sites will be suitable for constructing a universal service tower pursuant to the legal framework, and which of the proposed sites will be suitable for the deployment of appropriate alternative technology. Once declared as a universal service area, the Universal Service Fund will then be utilized for the installation of networks, provision of services, and operating costs in the universal service area as provided under the law. Mr. Speaker, the 317 sites cover the 34,590 Fijians in the remote, maritime, and low-lying areas, and will progressively empower them to access the life-enhancing e-services, such as registering the birth of newborn online or starting an online business. This also means that 34,590 Fijians will progressively have timely access to critical information and alerts regarding health and other emergencies such as natural disasters. These Fijians will be able to communicate through video conference platforms with their families and friends abroad. This also means that through the Walesi app, 34,590 Fijians will have educational content, sports, entertainment, and the business of this August Parliament at their fingertips. Mr. Speaker, sir, to further complement the Connecting the Unconnected program, the Ministry of Communications has introduced a Northern Connectivity Project, which aims to increase the availability of internet services in 40 sites in the Northern Division and to provide emergency communications equipment. Out of the 40 sites, Mr. Speaker, sir, 16 schools that do not have internet connectivity will now be connected, and these sites are Gumusia District School, Lutukina District School, Naivaka Primary School, Navakasinga District School, Koreina Solo Village School, Dawara District School, St. Paul's Primary School, Galitu District School, Nukumbolu Primary School, Viani Primary School, Wanisiyaki Primary School, Natandra District School, Galoa Island School, Vatuvula Primary School, Dikumbia Primary School, Kodoma District School. The 10 schools that have a minimal level of internet connectivity and will now be connected are Kambu K. Nailoda Infant School, Lekutu District School, Bua District School, Bua Primary School, Immaculate Conception Primary School, Andi Ileana Primary School, Wailevu East Primary School, Vuni Salusalu Central Primary School, Volivoli Primary School, Gilo Island School. Mr. Speaker, sir, further to these schools, 14 health facilities that have limited or no access to internet connectivity will now be connected also. Dongeloa Nursing Station, Bua Nursing Center, Kumbulau Nursing Station, Nakorovatu Health Center, Naweni Nursing Station, Bangasau Nursing Station, Dongotuki Nursing Station, Langani Health Center, Visongo Nursing Station, Boma Nursing Station, Vuna Nursing Station, Kioa Nursing Station, Gamea Nursing Station, Yadata Nursing Station. Through the implementation of improved connectivity solutions in these 14 sites, Mr. Speaker, sir, the health facilities will be able to position themselves to pilot e-health services also. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, community accessible Wi-Fi hotspots will also be installed in 26 of these 40 locations to enable internet access. These Wi-Fi hotspots, which is a combination from the above schools and health centers, will facilitate continuous internet accessibility for the benefit of the local communities. So in other words, if you have a health center, there's a village around it, people will be able to access their connectivity to the health center through the Wi-Fi hotspots. And these are Kambuke Nailoda Infant School, Gumasea District School, Lutukina District School, Naivaka Primary School, Navakasinga District School, Corina Solo District School, Immaculate Conception Primary School, Andi Elena Primary School, Dawara District School, St. Paul's Primary School, Nukumbulo Primary School, Viani Primary School, Vuanisiaki Primary School, Vunisalusalu Central Primary School, Natandra District School, Volivoli Primary School, Boma Nursing Station, Vuna Nursing Station, Galoa Island School, Kioa Nursing Station, Vatuvula Primary School, Dikumbia Primary School, Gamea Nursing Station, Gilo Island School, Kodoma District School, Yadata Nursing Station. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government will also procure and install internet services including 1 year of bandwidth. This is being funded at a cost of $556,761, Mr. Speaker, sir. The supply and installation of electrical solutions, including solar power at the 40 sites, will cost us $630,000 because they don't have any electricity. The procurement of the necessary ICT equipment, including desktops, printers, headsets, and webcams, to facilitate connectivity for the 40 sites, will cost us about $254,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the operational costs at the 40 sites, the negotiated monthly recurring cost to be paid by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education after 1 year of engagement should be the same vendor as has been engaged. 14 sites, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the satellite internet by Telecom Fiji Limited at a rate of $321 per month, per site, sorry, I should say. 26 sites on satellite internet by Vodafone Limited at $486.35 per site. Mr. Speaker, sir, out of the 40 sites, only 4 are being powered by EFL, and this electricity cost is being catered for in the normal operating costs of the 4 sites. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second component is to provide connectivity and coverage across low-lying terrain and maritime areas in the Northern Division to support emergency response efforts during times of natural disaster. These areas often suffer from loss of communications during periods of adverse weather, which severely impact dissemination of weather warnings prior to natural disasters and the immediate coordination of relief efforts. The emergency portable solutions will be stored centrally within the ministry and deployed as needed in the areas affected by the occurrence of natural disasters. The portable emergency solutions are expected to considerably enhance government's capacity to respond to emergency situations, reduce response times for completion of impact assessments, and facilitate faster coordination of relief efforts across isolated and marginalized communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, Northern Connectivity Project, Mr. Speaker, sir, will provide a means of connectivity to over 2,000 primary and secondary school students in the Northern Division. A further 15,000 Fijians living in the communities near these schools are also expected to utilize these facilities. Improved connectivity in the health facilities located in the Northern Division will also significantly improve the Ministry of Health's ability to disseminate critical information relating to COVID-19 pandemic, as well as its efforts to reduce non-communicable diseases in the community. The tenders for these projects have already been advertised, evaluated and awarded, and the selected tenders are A1 Electrical Services, Vodafone and Telecom, DATAC, and Vodafone and Telecom for the Wi-Fi hotspots. Mr. Speaker, sir, notwithstanding the COVID-19 travel restrictions, the Northern Connectivity project is expected to be completed within the next 4 months, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, to conclude, high quality and affordable voice and internet services for all Fijians is essential to further facilitate innovation, economic growth, economic participation and development, and of course, social and economic inclusion. Mr. Speaker, sir, we of course will stay on the course in ensuring that every Fijian has full, equal and affordable access to voice and internet connectivity is a matter of absolute necessity and indeed as a matter of right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank the Honourable Attorney General for his ministerial statement. Honourable members, as you are aware, at this time I call on the Leader of the Opposition or his designate. And his designate on this occasion is the Honourable Tania Wanganika. You have the floor, ma'am.